are pirates and we are free, sailing on our privacy. As the world goes mad, we fill our bags. Pirate chain, degenerates hiding crypto gains. How much money did we make? None of your business anyway. Doesn't matter if you're rich when tyrants finally flip the switch and you can't buy your stuff no more because of social credit score. Ooh, pirate chain, generous, hiding crypto gains. How much money did we make? None of your business anyway. Pirate chain, degenerates, hiding crypto gains. Feels so good to be alive, and better to be a pirate. Pirate chain, terrorists, hiding crypto gains. How much money did we make? None of your business anyway. Pirate chain, degenerates, hiding crypto gains. How much money did we make? None of your business anyway. Pirate chain, degenerates, hiding crypto gains.
What up, Vigilantes? Spring is here, and if you're not outdoors, you're missing out. There is so much beauty. You guys need to leave the screens. Woo! Have you guys noticed that the coolest things that happen in crypto are things that are grassroots, things that are original, things that happen from and by the people? You see, there's this thing called venture capital that for forever now, it seems, since the 80s, they've been involved in taming innovation. Their thing is to tame innovation. That's what they're about. Controlling innovation, taming innovation. And because of crypto, because of Bitcoin, innovation has gotten out of their hands. We run innovation now. Innovation is something that comes from the people now. I mean, real innovation. And that's something that you, as a participant in these crypto networks, should be aware of. You need to be aware of the reality that there are some people who do not want the free market to figure things out on its own. There are some people who desire to stay in control of what we call technological innovation. They don't like the fact that now people can come together with their imaginations and create things that serve one another. I was talking to Ed Bugos about this a couple months ago. He's one of my mentors. He's like, if you guys don't know Ed Bugos, you gotta know Ed Bugos. He takes the Austrian School of Economics and he applies it to investing. And he gives you, when you're at that level, it's like you have the glasses that you can see the matrix, you know, you can see the matrix of what's really happening behind human action. And Ed said, Raf, he's like, do you know the Austrian school definition for the word is civilization? And he says, this is actually what Mises defined as civilization. Civilization is the idea that we yield more working together in cooperation with one another than we do by ourselves. That's very beautiful. Later on, Ed goes on to, this past year and so forth, he's gone on to extrapolate on this idea and he's been able to articulate exactly how money is a creation that comes from the people. Money, the most important network effect, is a technology of the people, by the people, for the people. It's something that we human persons created to serve one another. Money is not something that comes from central planners. Central planners, kings, queens, people that are tyrannical, they want things by dictate. They don't want to have to go out there and exchange goods and services. They want things by decree. I want that over here. I want that over there. And through coercion and through coercion or through threats of violence for them to get their way. That's how these people operate. That's what they're used to. That's what they want. So, for the longest time, people who help out entrepreneurs have positioned themselves in a place where they pretend as if they're helping out the entrepreneur, but in reality what they're doing is that they're taming innovation around the safeguarding of their already existing portfolios. See my dog back there? So, yeah, that's the honest truth. That is what these people are about. That's what they care about, is protecting their portfolios. So you mean to tell me that the guys who were the first to invest in Google and in Amazon will be the same guys who will be in favor of promoting, who would be in favor of helping out anything that would disrupt those already existing entities? No, of course not. Their mission is to first and foremost protect those existing portfolios. When we talk about big tech, when we talk about information technology, you have to understand that that world is intricately aligned with the surveillance states. And this is a touchy subject because a lot of people don't care about this. The vast majority of people don't care to even think about this because ignorance is bliss, and as long as they are not being bothered by it, they care not for it. Which is kind of sad. But it is something that affects all of us. We are all affected by mass surveillance. We are all affected by central planners that control innovation. That is something that you and we can't get rid of. It's just an inevitability that there are people out there who have positions of power, who have investments that they need to protect. And that's okay. A lot of people in crypto play ball with these entities because they know that that is the fastest way to grow. You know, to compete with these entities is it's either the most profitable thing you can be part of, or to a certain degree suicidal, because you don't have the war chest that these entities have. But yet again, we find ourselves constantly reliving the experience of the disruptive entrepreneur, the Satoshi Nakamoto, that gave the world something brand new, something that can't be tamed, something that can't be stopped. Everyone that it encounters, no matter where you come from, everyone that encounters these new technologies has to figure out how they're going to position themselves, no matter who you are, with these technologies. And how will you use these technologies in your personal life? A lot of these old school venture capital funds are very familiar with this way of adapting to innovation. The problem is that innovation itself is no longer centrally planned. Innovation itself and the funding of these innovations is no longer something that could be tamed through funding. So we are now encountering two different worlds, a world that sees this world of decentralized, autonomous innovation versus a world that needs to keep its portfolios well looked out after for, well protected. Excuse me, English is not my first language. I try. So where do we find ourselves, right? We find ourselves at the crossroads that every human being has to decide towards that which is most profitable. The truth is that when something new comes about, the first network of investors to recognize the value of a given innovation are the most intelligent of people, because intelligence is a race. And in a race, the smartest ones will be the first ones to figure things out on how to take these ingredients that we find in the kitchen of what we call technology, and to see how they're able to create recipes out of these ingredients that are unique. Example, Pirate Chain, the first private by default cryptocurrency that unto this point is still the most private cryptocurrency in the world. Look at this guy. You see that guy? Living the life. What's up, buddy? Let's see. All right. So, yeah, that's where we're at. We're in a place and time where you get to decide what future you want. You, in a sense, vote with your money, with your investment. Another very interesting grassroots innovation was Bitmap. Bitmap is the first proof of work network that aims to use Bitcoin itself, BTC, and its hash power as part of its protection in creating a proof of work UTXO based metaverse. What happened after that? What happened after that was that we saw a lot of copies of Bitmap funded by venture capital. Again, the story keeps repeating itself. The VCs wanted to give the world a semblance of this privacy that is only found on Pirate Chain. So they had Zcash, VC-funded endeavor. And they even had this one thing which nobody cares about. It was a complete flop called, I think, Iron Fish. That is a copy of Pirate Chain. No one cares about that. Why is that? Because a technology that is open source is truly valuable because of its community. There's a lot of beauty there to dissect, because there's a human element that we recognize in each other. There's a human element that we value. We value things that we can trust. And we trust those things which have shown themselves to be trustworthy by the nature in which they unfold throughout time. Pirate Chain is something that came out of a grassroots movement that started off as an experiment. And a lot of these things do start up as experiments. Complete spontaneous order. Where some devs got together and said, hey, wouldn't it be a dream for those who truly need privacy in the world to have Zcash-like features, like Snowden himself says. Here's the clip.
Everybody knows who is technically involved in this, that Bitcoin is really bad on privacy. I think the only people who do it worse actually are Ethereum. All of that leaves a history that is largely being recorded. With the tools that I had at the NSA, tracking Bitcoin transactions would have been very, very easy. We don't want everything we do to be scrutinized. We don't want every transaction to be monitored. This is what we need, though. We need people to be able to transact on-chain effortlessly at any time. You should have levels of privacy protection baked into the protocol. You have to have this stuff in the protocol. It has to happen on-chain. But yeah, Monero is great. Zcash has its own flaws, too. For a lot of people, they're not using the shielded transactions.
And as you can see, Snowden himself is like agreeing with me, right? If you really want privacy, you need Zcash-like features that have Z addresses, zero knowledge addresses by default at the protocol level. Now look, guys, all of these technologies are agnostic. You as an individual gets to figure out how you're going to use them. But is there a need for privacy? Yes, there is, ladies and gentlemen. There is a need for privacy. In the 1930s Germany situation, I'm pretty sure a lot of Jewish people would have wanted privacy, right? So it really comes down to you, how much privacy you need, you want in your life. I almost busted my ass back there. I don't know if you caught that. It just got done raining here. It's a beautiful April day. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I think this used to be an old settlement, like old pioneer settlement where I'm at right now. I don't think anyone ever comes around here. I think I'm the only one. Yeah. So what is the game plan now of venture capital in a world where they no longer have a say as to what grows or not? Well, they have to figure something out, right, in order to stay relevant, because entrepreneurs don't need them. I don't need them. You don't need them. They're an option there if you want. But why would you marry yourself, marry your precious innovation to a group of people that can't keep up with the technology. And I'm being, I've dabbled in I've dabbled in venture capital in the early days. I understand the business. No, I don't have the experience of someone who's seasoned and has been in that world. And I'm pretty sure there's very awesome people in that world. And I've met a lot of cool people. But there is no time to check in with a board. There is no time to check in with your limited partners. There simply is no time. Because the on-chain world, what we call Web 3, which is the internet plus blockchain, is moving extremely fast. So what are VCs doing? VCs are having to pivot and move and try to figure out how to be part of this world. So what they do is that they will fund entrepreneurs that are hip into these new modalities, and they give them kind of free reign, but they ask them like, hey, you make sure you give us a percentage, right? They have a deal with them. So they're mirroring grassroots entrepreneurs. And to be completely honest, because of how fast things are moving, especially now that we can leverage AI as a tool, where we can create a lot faster. Where now in the very near future, you watching this will have the capability of writing code by writing it through your speech into a language model that will just create the code for you. So ideas and tools are just going to be manifested into reality a lot faster. There's no way for the VC world to be able to keep up with this level of innovation. There really isn't. I honestly think that the venture capital world is at its deathbed. I think that they are going away. Do you think a Steve Jobs, that's 20 years old right now, would even fathom going into that route of building? Sure, I'm pretty sure for some things, a modern day Steve Jobs would do such a thing. That he would probably go in and seek feedback from VCs and even contemplate getting funding from them. But I know that he now has an option. The option is, hey, why don't I create something? And if it catches fire, I will create a community around me that will be co-creating this with me at the same time. A great example of this are the two communities I just explained, right? Like within the on-chain network of BTC, you have Bitmap. Satoshi Nakamoto was offered money from VCs. And if you go to his Twitter at Blockamoto, you will see where he gives he calls it a public service announcement, where he says, I don't need venture capitalists because I have adventure capitalists. Ain't that beautiful? Yeah, America. There's a bald eagle flying over me. Dude, that's amazing. You guys hear it? Yeah. Praise God. Thank you for freedom. Yes. Woo. Yeah, get away from the screens. Screens are unhealthy, guys. They want to trap you. Get out of them. Go into nature. Have a blast. Many people in crypto, they follow me, they follow my team, and we're all just humble analysts analyzing things as we see them based on our experience. Why is that? Why do we even do this? We don't have to do this. We don't have to analyze this world. Guys, we do it because for us, freedom go up is more important than number go up. It doesn't matter if I am a billionaire, but find myself in a world where you can't barely even travel. Well, what kind of world is that? You know? You come to this world without anything, you leave empty-handed. The only thing you really have is the present moment. And I'm blessed to be living the life that I'm living. And it's because of people who have paved the way for me to be here. So I don't take my freedom for granted at all. And I know deep down that these technologies can either free us and give us a more abundant, beautiful world, or they can enslave us. A lot of the people that follow the Crypto Vigilante are very weary. They're aware of this. That's why they support us. That's why they follow us. And for a lot of people, I may seem like someone who doesn't make sense to them, because I'm like, well, dude, you know, you one day are talking about privacy coins, and then the next day you're talking about things that are completely transparent, and you're calling them honesty coins. Well, look, guys, is that these are all just tools. And to be completely honest, depending on your circumstance in life, where you live and who you are, whatever moment in time or whatever needs you may have, you might have a need for one tool over another. It's pointless and trite to say what, in my opinion, this is more important than that. You know, I can make a case for both. I can put on my privacy coin hat on and say, and give you a very, good reason as to why privacy coins are the most important things in the world. But I can put on my honesty coin hat and tell you, man, we really need accountability. We really need honesty in this world. So it's to embrace a more abundant perspective in everything that we do in crypto. I think that is very important. But in both privacy and honesty, which are the main veins of crypto, honesty and privacy. First off, you have to be congruent and honest in knowing what it is, that the tool that you're dealing with. So by all means, don't tell someone that Bitcoin is private when it's not. It will never be. I've said that over and over again. You're actually creating a hazard, a potential hazard for people. That is not something I would recommend people fleeing communism or fascism. No, that would be like lying to them. There are extreme circumstances where people need privacy. And we can read history books about these extreme circumstances, and these extreme circumstances are valid. They're no joke, they're real. Now, does that mean that everyone needs it? I don't know. Everyone's different. But you have to be very cautious as to what you recommend as something that you find private or not. Very, very cautious. Like, if you really need privacy, guys, the number one technology right now is Pirate Chain. By far. It is. Hands down, from an objective perspective, that's what I can say. You're more than welcome to challenge me on that. You're more than welcome to dispute that. I actually implore you to do that. People come up to me all the time and they're like, Raph, what should I buy? What should I invest in? I'm like, you know what you should do is invest in your education. That's the most important investment. Invest in your education, because you make yourself vulnerable anytime you ask someone else what you should buy or get in. Call me ideological, I don't care. But I'm here for freedom to go up. And what I've discovered is that pursuing freedom go up technology has been more profitable than what I've seen other people blindly chasing number go up. And I think it has to do because innately the utility of these networks revolves around the thesis that demand that freedom goes up. If freedom is not going up, then the underlying foundation becomes shaky. You have to be honest. For example, with Bitmap. Bitmap is not a privacy protocol. It's a non-fungible, is the creation of a non-fungible metaverse, of a transparent metaverse that lives on BTC. That serves other purposes. I envision a world where people will be using augmented reality, people will be using virtual reality to do work, to surf the internet with new applications. And that's a cool world, you know. I have nothing wrong, there's nothing wrong with that world. I love that world. I think that's a cool world. I think that's a world we all should be part of. I see a world where people will be using augmented reality, virtual reality. And what I've noticed is that as much as everyone invites these technologies, no one really wants to use these technologies if they are controlled by something like Apple or Google or Facebook. And I think it's because the nature of these technologies is one that now embeds into our biology even more, where it's tracking and tracing facial expressions, eye movement, and possibly even reading brain waves, right? Which is kind of freaky. So I don't want to be part of software that does that for me to engage in the metaverse. I want to be part of something because I do see the value of these technologies. I want to be part of something that is freedom oriented. I want to be part of something that is built by a community of conscientious people. So I want to be part of something where the builders are conscientious of the importance of safeguarding our big data. That's what I want to be part of. I do not want to be part of further surveillance. I don't. So that's why Bitmap is so important. And Bitmap started as something that is grassroots from the ground up. Recently, last week or so, two weeks ago now, we had Runes, the Runes protocol, and for 6 months we were inundated with information about the Runes protocol. And what we saw was that it was VC funded, it was not fairly launched. There was collusion with the miners to give favoritism to those who have the upper hand, who launched the protocol on BTC. We saw something we had never seen before, which is that even up to the ticker symbol, exchanges were already anticipating, and it was at all not an organic setup. It was a setup of manipulation. And when you juxtapose that, when you compare and contrast that with the experience of Bitmap, people right away realize, oh my God, like, what was that, right? Like, it's like, I was talking to Mr. X about this, and he said something really insightful. He said, yeah, man, that's like eating GMO foods versus organic. Like the Runes protocol was GMO Monsanto seeds, yuck, right? And Bitmap is organic. Bitmap right now has the biggest community, is the biggest NFT community in the world. It has the most hands, the most participants. So it has the most growth already, the most market penetration. So if you as an entrepreneur wanted to create something or start deploying things that you find cool, that you would want to see in the metaverse of the future, one controlled by us and from us, one that is not controlled by the manipulators of innovation, the venture capital cartel, Then you have Bitmap as the awesome open source alternative that is controlled by Bitcoin hash power, that is secured by Bitcoin hash power. And you can deploy cool things there with a community ready to accept that and play with it. Apple doesn't have that. Apple invested all his money on this VR set, the Apple Vision Pro. They didn't have this. They wish they did. The brightest and smartest of people, of developers, of contributors, of people that are really in at the bleeding edge of technology, they're not racing for the iStore, for the Apple Store. Why? Where you can be censored. It's just like, it's not even ethically sound. I mean, there's no freedom there. There's no freedom to create. There's no freedom to explore. There's no freedom to be yourself. What you do have is a bunch of surveillance. Honesty networks like Bitcoin have an advantage over privacy networks in that because they are transparent by design with their pseudo-anonymity, and because they're not anonymous, you have the ability to go viral in ways that something that is anonymous by default, just by its nature, is not oriented towards complete virality. So needless to say, I find a lot of value in a network like Pirate Chain. I mean, obviously I do. It's freaking phenomenal. In my opinion, and I also love Bitmap. And whoever wants to compete with either Bitmap or Pirate Chain has to at least match them. So you see a lot of propositions in the market trying to match Pirate Chain right now. Even the Monero community right now is stepping up their game. And they already know that they have to step up their game. And we see new proofs coming out, new forms of doing cryptography that make the privacy in Monero even more robust. But why is that? They won't tell you this. The Monero community is stepping up its game because there is another community that's vibrant, young, rebellious, that is not afraid to make mistakes, break things. That's Pirate Chain. As of right now, Pirate Chain is more private than Monero, and they know it. Pirate Chain is already being used on DeFi, on Ethereum, called VR. V as in Victor, R. ARRR. A new trusted setup is already being worked on Pirate Chain called Orchard, that does away with the ceremony, the key signing ceremony that Zcash had when it first started. So this Orchard will be very similar to Halo 2 on Zcash. That is extremely bullish. You see the chart reflecting what I'm telling you right now. It feels good to be a pirate. It feels good to champion freedom. In a world that's constantly like feeding you fear porn, it's good to know that there's good people out there working on good technology. At the same time, you see people trying to imitate Bitmap But Bitmap is even harder to imitate. Bitmap is hard to imitate because it lives within Bitcoin. And it was first to market to live within Bitcoin. It lives within Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is its native infrastructure. It has all of the liquidity, market penetration, and enjoys the market cap of Bitcoin itself, readily available to deploy. Bitmap doesn't even need centralized exchanges. It has Bitcoin itself that sits, that through its own blockchain now operates as a decentralized exchange of digital assets that live within the Bitcoin protocol. How amazing is that? So you don't even need centralized exchanges anymore for the metaverse. It's already been taken care of. It all lives and all happens on chain on BTC. And the venture capital funds that have been funding the second layers for BTC, they themselves have already admitted with their actions that the best second layer for something like BTC is in itself another blockchain. And that's why we saw the emergence of the Merlin blockchain to help Bitmap in these early stages. And now we're seeing Solana being deployed as a second layer for BTC. So all in all, the moral of the story is that the best infrastructure for nodes, for digital nodes to be interconnected with one another, the best infrastructure is called the blockchain. We go back to the Satoshi creation time and time again, because the Satoshi creation is something that, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, but it's divinely inspired by far. And I say that with all humility, because it really is a beautiful architecture. The UTXO model that Satoshi gave us is way more capable than anything the banksters gave the world through Ethereum. The banksters gave the world Ethereum, properly JP Morgan, and along with it, the banking model of the account-based model. And that in itself is not scalable unless you do some weird thing here, but you're still dependent on a snapshot. Can only scale so much. Satoshi gave us a blockchain model that scales not vertically, meaning you don't have to grow the bus if you get more people, like magically grow the bus. No, you just buy more buses. That is the model that Google and Amazon utilizes till this day. It's called parallel scaling. That is, man, this is a good cigar. This is called a Gurkha Real. Amazing. It's like the Russians and the Spaniards had a baby. I don't know, it's amazing. Beautiful. Beautiful cigar. Wow. I'm really enjoying this one. Oh, man. That's a good cigar. So that's where we're at, guys. We're in the place where we're seeing two beautiful networks emerging. One of extreme privacy and one of extreme freedom and of innovation. Pirate Chain on one hand, and everyone trying to keep up with Pirate Chain like Monero, because Monero's trying to keep up with Pirate Chain. That's the honest truth, guys. Monero's trying to keep up with Pirate Chain. That is exactly what Monero's trying to do. I've been at Monero conferences where literally this was a hot topic. And the Monero devs will shit on Pirate Chain because what else are they gonna fucking do? Pick on the little guy, on the new guy, right? It's like the mean girls, you know, like the new hot girl came in. She's a pirate chick. And all these older guys are pissed off because she's getting all the attention. the mean girl phenomena exists amongst nerds in crypto too. It's like we haven't left high school. At the same time, like the people that were promoting runes, for example, which come from like the VC small blocker world, when Bitmap came out, they were shitting on it. They didn't like it. Again, mean girls. There's a hot girl in town. And look at what happened, dude. Bitoshi Nakamoto, the guy who gave birth to Bitmap, he was offered the opportunity to sell out to VCs. And what happened? He said, nope. He said, no. He said, I don't need venture capitalists. I have enough with my Bitmappers, the adventure capitalists. Fucking love that, man. That just gives me so much hope. And for all you watching that are very hip and understand the intricacies of technology, I just got done talking to Bitoshi. For the metaverse to exist on BTC, you do not need a big blocker blockchain. All that is needed for Bitmap is a few more little things, tiny things that will literally take a couple more months. I really think Bitmap is the hero, the savior of BTC. I really think it is, guys. I really think it is. Everything else in Bitcoin on-chain world is pretty cool. I like it. I like ordinals. I like atomicals. Boy, oh boy, but Bitmap really stands on its own. It really does. It really does. It really, really does. It really does. And it gives you, it's almost like a superpower that Bitoshi found within Bitcoin, where it's not just money, but it's the creation of the metaverse on chain. It's the start of the new internet that lives and that is protected by Bitcoin miners. Like that to me, that leaves me speechless, because that has always been my dream for Bitcoin. For Bitcoin's potentialities to be expressed to their fullest manifestation as far as possible, to take proof of work. So I'm very happy with Bitmap. I'm very happy with Pirate Chain. If you were to compare Bitmap to BTC, you have to know that BTC and Bitmap share the same infrastructure. They come from the same protocol, but they just have different capabilities. One is digital money, digital gold, and it serves as the settlement layer for the world, protected by the most hash power, the SHA-256 miners. And on top of that, there is this new thing. It's almost like it mutated and it became something new. And there's less than 1 million of these assets right now versus 21 million BTCs that will ever exist. There's less than 1 million bitmaps. And so we're talking about a 1 to 21 ratio. And so I think that really what's happening here is that the VC world is trying to figure out, like, what the do we do? How do we get a hand on this? Because they want Bitmap. You have to understand, this is the holy grail for Bitcoin. And yet it's something that they don't have access to, because it's all held by people like you and me. We run the show. So it really feels like Bitcoin in the early days before BlackRock, before JP Morgan, before all of this crap that came in. And now it's innovators innovating freely, moving forward in creating the world, the future that they want to see on-chain, open source, interoperably. It's almost like BTC, the coin, is the fuel. Bitmap is the place, the thing. The fuel that Satoshi gave us to grow this on-chain world. There are levels to this, ladies and gentlemen. Satoshi did not just give us money. He gave us digital assets that can live on chain. And Bitoshi, like I keep coming back to this analogy, started by the one and only Jack Lew, where he talks about technology being, the world of technology being a kitchen full of ingredients. And Satoshi was able to grab the best of ingredients to create the best architecture called the blockchain that is proof of work with the UTXO model. And on top of that, within that world, we can create recipes within the infrastructure that Satoshi gave us. So think of the on-chain world like Bitmap as Bitcoin waking up, the Bitcoin supercomputer waking up, the Bitcoin internet waking up, the on-chain marketplace waking up. I don't know which road to take. They're both beautiful. The one less traveled, right? That's what they say, right? You take the one less traveled. That's me. I don't take VC. I take the road less traveled. Pirate Chain and Bitmap. So different, right? Assets that are so different from one another, yet they share the same ethos, the free and open source software ethos, the FOSS ethos. Man, I love it. You guys need to get out into nature. If you're not doing that, if you're not touching grass, you're not gonna make it. You need to get out into nature and enjoy your life. I know a lot of you guys are creating, very passionate, creating the future. But this is the present moment. You have to connect with nature. Otherwise, you will be detached from the source. The source, God and nature. Freedom. Man, it feels good to be a pirate. The Monero guys are gonna get pissed. Mean girls incoming. I love the Monero community. Shout out, big shout outs to them. Why? Because they've paved the way. And in my opinion, what makes them excellent is their adherence to the free and open source software ethos. I think it's very valuable, right? That I've always said this, but I'll say it again. The Monero person is quicker to tell you how the possible ways that Monero could go wrong than they are to tell you how great Monero is. When I go to their conferences, it really, really, really does feel like I'm like entering a monastery. Because these guys they're very wholesome. Very, very wholesome people. They're very wholesome. And I really like that they're now inviting other privacy-oriented protocols to their conferences. As it should be. Where there could be dialogue, where there could be admonishments, where there could be feedback, where we could learn from one another. Because if something's not valuable, it's not going to grow, obviously. We are all there to grow. We need competition. We need to keep growing together. So the VC world will come at you with a lot of noise. They control the media. All of their affiliates, their portfolio companies run the show of what you know of as the internet. But you know what they don't run the show of? They don't run the show of the imagination and creative potential of over 8 billion people. And that is what networks like Pirate Chain and Bitmap are waking up inside of everyone. That you now know that you don't need permission and you don't have to go through any friction to create, innovate, or be part of the best of networks. You are free. Freedom go up is always more important than number go up. I'm gonna chill, finish off my cigar. I think I said everything I needed to say. I love you guys. Thank you for your support. Subscribe below. Hit the notification button. And don't wait for a tomorrow. Enjoy life today. We are all just passengers here. We're all just fellow travelers. And our goal is always to leave this world better than we found it. Look, nature doesn't need us to do anything. It's beautiful on its own. And if you really want to be inspired, go out in nature. Be in nature. Embrace nature. And when you come back to your computer, you will be connected to source. And you will be more creative than you could ever imagine, more than your peers, more than your competition. I highly recommend that you guys read and study Austrian economics. Austrian economics is the theory of human action, is a starting point of economics, of what it is that we do. Why is it that human beings act the way they act? Why do we move the way we move? This is not psychology or epistemology of how we know or what instincts do we have, but rather how do human beings act in a world where there is scarcity? When you study Austrian economics, you will see the matrix better. Nature and Austrian economics is the way to go, guys. You'll be on top of the world in crypto if you study both nature and Austrian economics. That's all you need. I'll tell you a secret, that in the early days of Bitcoin, I really thought that most people had at least a competent understanding of Austrian economics. And many of these people who went on to be very notable in Bitcoin confessed to me in private that they have the books, but they don't read them. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed to have Ed Boos and Jeff Berwick in my life. Because as mentors, they constantly challenge me and they show me, and they've been there, done that. And it moves me to read more. I'm always a student. At the Crypto Vigilante, we are all students. Yes, it is a newsletter in the classical sense of the word, of a financial newsletter. Most importantly, it is a network of research. So until next time, guys, peace, love, and anarchy. Now we are dealing with a possible world war. Some will say we are already in a world war. My condolences and prayers go out to everyone suffering under tyranny. It really sucks. I'm really sorry. But it seems as if people are starting to wake up regarding crypto more and more each day. And so it's in the description right here to read, where we give our secret sauce and what we teach our subscribers, because things are just that bad. You know, everyone needs this information. People need to know about sound cryptocurrencies that are actually private by default, and to know how to properly use crypto.